HOA Karen's wail sliced through the park like a cheap siren, her meaty arm flailing as if she'd been mauled by a lion. "That beast attacked me," she shrieked, pointing at a pit bull that looked more bored than vicious, lounging beside its owner, Marcus. The dog, named Rusty, flicked an ear, unimpressed by the performance. HOA, a woman whose sheer presence could sour milk, had a reputation in Oak Ridge estates for turning minor inconveniences into Shakespearean tragedies. Today, her stage was the community park, and her script was a lie so bold it could have been written in neon. Marcus, a lanky mechanic with a heart bigger than his paycheck, stood frozen, his dark eyes wide with disbelief. Rusty, his 3-year-old pit bull, had never so much as growled at a squirrel, let alone bitten anyone. Yet here was HOA, all 250 pounds of her, clutching a barely visible scratch on her arm, demanding the dog be put down and banned from the neighborhood. "Pit bulls don't belong here," she spat, her voice dripping with the kind of superiority that made people's fists itch. The small crowd, Lila, a college student walking home, and Mr. Thompson, an elderly widower out for his evening stroll, watched in stunned silence. The air crackled with tension, the kind that comes when someone's about to get their comeuppance or make a fool of themselves trying. HOA's sister, Min, hovered nearby, nodding like a bobblehead, her phone already out, filming the spectacle for their HOA group chat. Min was HOA's shadow, thinner but just as mean-spirited, always ready to co-sign her sister's nonsense. Together, they were the neighborhood's self-appointed morality police, notorious for filing complaints about everything from unmowed lawns to suspicious mailbox designs. But this was their magnum opus. A dog bite, they claimed, that would finally rid Oak Ridge of dangerous breeds and, not coincidentally, boost their clout in the HOA. The problem? Rusty hadn't touched her. Marcus had been tossing a frisbee with Rusty when HOA stormed over, already fuming about that mutt being off-leash for all of 10 seconds while Marcus grabbed a water bottle. The bite was a fiction, born from HOA's hatred of pit bulls and her hunger for control. She'd seen her chance when Rusty brushed past her, his tail grazing her leg, and decided to turn it into a crisis. The scratch? Likely from her own gaudy bracelet, but truth was never HOA's strong suit. "Ma'am, calm down and tell us exactly what happened," Officer Daniels said, his notepad out, his partner, Officer Ruiz, scanning the scene. Daniels was a no-nonsense cop, his patience already fraying from HOA's theatrics. She doubled down, her voice climbing an octave. "I was just walking, minding my business, when that monster lunged. Look at my arm. I need a hospital." The wound was barely a pink line, but HOA cradled it like she'd lost a limb. Min chimed in. "I saw it. That dog's a menace. It should be illegal to own those things." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Rusty didn't bite anyone," he said, his voice steady but laced with anger. "He was with me the whole time." "She's lying." He gestured to Rusty, who yawned, oblivious to the storm brewing around him. Lila, the college student, stepped forward hesitantly. "I was here," she said, her voice shaking. "I didn't see the dog do anything. She just started screaming." Mr. Thompson nodded, leaning on his cane. "That woman's always causing trouble. That dog's sweeter than my old beagle ever was." HOA's face twisted, her eyes narrowing at Lila like she was a bug to be squashed. "You're lying to protect him," she snapped, jabbing a finger at Marcus. "You're all in on it. This neighborhood's gone to the dogs literally." Min nodded furiously, still filming, muttering about evidence for their lawyer. The officers exchanged a glance, the kind that said they'd seen this movie before and knew how it ended. What HOA didn't know was that the park had cameras, tucked discreetly in the corner, installed after last year's vandalism spree. They'd caught every second of her performance. Officer Ruiz had already radioed for a tech to pull the footage, suspecting this wasn't just a misunderstanding but a deliberate scam. HOA and Min had a history last summer. They'd tried to sue a neighbor for emotional distress over a loud barbecue, only to drop the case when their lies unraveled. This time, they'd picked the wrong target. As the officers questioned HOA, her story began to crack. She claimed Rusty had charged her, but couldn't explain why no one else saw it. She insisted the bite happened so fast, yet the scratch didn't match a dog's teeth. Marcus, meanwhile, stayed calm, his trust in Rusty unshaken. "Check the cameras," he said quietly. "They'll show the truth." HOA's eyes flickered with panic, but she doubled down, her voice shrill. "Cameras? What cameras? This is a cover-up. You're all against me." The crowd grew as more neighbors trickled in, drawn by the commotion. Whispers spread HOA's name was synonymous with trouble, and most were rooting for her to finally face consequences. Lila, emboldened, pulled out her phone and showed Officer Daniels a photo she'd snapped earlier. HOA mid-rant, standing a good 10 feet from Rusty, no bite in sight. Min tried to interrupt, but Daniels held up a hand. "Ma'am, you're not helping." When the camera footage arrived, it was damning. The grainy video showed HOA storming toward Marcus, yelling before Rusty even got close. The attack was nothing more than Rusty trotting past, his tail brushing her leg as he chased the frisbee. HOA's dramatic fall and scream came seconds later, with no contact. The scratch? She'd scratched her own arm with her bracelet while flailing for effect. Min's footage, ironically, corroborated the truth. Started recording too early, capturing HOA's untouched arm before the bite performance began. Officer Daniels turned to HOA, his face stone cold. "Ma'am, you're under arrest for filing a false police report and attempted fraud." HOA's jaw dropped, her bravado evaporating. "Fraud? Me? I'm the victim," she screeched, but the cuffs were already clicking around her wrists. Min, panicking, tried to backtrack. "It was a mistake. We didn't mean it." But the officers weren't buying it. Min was cuffed too, for aiding the deception. As the sisters were led to the patrol car, HOA's wails echoed across the park, a mix of rage and humiliation. Marcus knelt beside Rusty, scratching his ears, relief washing over him. Lila and Mr. Thompson exchanged a quiet high-five, the crowd murmuring in satisfaction. The sisters' reign of terror had finally hit a wall, and the neighborhood felt lighter for it. In the days that followed, the HOA group chat exploded. The footage leaked, thanks to an anonymous neighbor, and HOA and Min became local pariahs. Their attempt to ban pit bulls backfired spectacularly. The community rallied around Marcus, starting a petition to protect Rusty and other misjudged dogs. HOA and Min faced fines and community service, their HOA influence shattered. HOA's smugness had been her downfall, her lie a mirror reflecting her own pettiness. Marcus took Rusty to the park every evening after that, the frisbee flying higher each time. The neighbors, once wary, now stopped to pet Rusty, their smiles a quiet victory. Truth had a way of biting back, and for HOA and Min, the sting was bitter. In the end, it wasn't just about a doge, it was about a community that refused to let lies win. The end.